She didn't just almost die, she did die, and her spirit went somewhere else. In a moment where her body was lifeless beneath the water, Mary Neal says she encountered something eternal, something that would forever change her understanding of God, purpose, and life itself. Doctors say the brain begins to die after just 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen, leaving irreversible damage to the brain. But this woman was underwater for nearly 30 minutes, and what she experienced changed her life forever. Mary Neal was not someone who doubted life, death, or faith, but she also wasn't someone looking for a supernatural experience either. She was a highly trained orthopedic spine surgeon, living a full life with her husband and children. She loved adventure, the outdoors, and especially kayaking. Well, in 1999, during a trip to southern Chile, everything changed. Mary and her husband had traveled there with friends to kayak down the Few River, a place known for its breathtaking beauty, but also its powerful, unpredictable currents. The river would wound through lush greenery, surrounded by towering cliffs and untouched wilderness. It was just simply beautiful. It was the kind of place that made you feel alive. That day, the group approached a section of the river with a strong waterfall. It wasn't unusual for experienced kayakers like Mary, but it did require precision and awareness. As Mary went over the falls, something went terribly wrong. Her kayak flipped. Instead of resurfacing like expected, the current forced her down into a narrow underwater channel. As Mary went over the falls, pinned her and her kayak against rocks beneath the surface. She tried to escape, but she couldn't move. The pressure was overwhelming. She realized quickly she was trapped. And then something unexpected happened. Instead of panic overtaking her, a deep sense of peace came over her, and she later described it as a complete release from fear. She stopped struggling. Her body, still trapped underwater, was no longer the focus. Instead, she became aware of something else, something beyond the physical. She felt herself leaving her body. Mary described being surrounded by a presence, not something she saw with her eyes, but something she just knew. She wasn't alone. There was beings with her, welcoming her, guiding her. She felt safe and at peace. Then she became aware that she was entering what she described as a heavenly place. It was just beautiful. It was filled with purpose, order, and overwhelming love. Every part of it felt intentional. There, she understood things she had never understood before. She thought differently, saw things differently, and she realized that her life on earth had meaning beyond what she ever could see. Every moment, every relationship, every hardship, it all mattered. It all meant something, and it was all a part of something so much bigger. And then she was told something that surprised her. It was not her time to stay. She didn't want to leave. She felt more at home in that place than she ever had on earth. But she understood she had more to do. There was still purpose waiting for her on Earth. Meanwhile, back in the river, her body had been underwater for nearly 30 minutes. Her friends refused to give up. They worked tirelessly to free her kayak from the rocks. When they finally pulled her out, she hadn't showed no signs of life. But they began CPR anyway. Minutes passed. Time passed. Then suddenly, Mary took a breath. Against all odds, she came back. She was rushed to medical care where doctors were stunned. There should have been severe brain damage after such a long time without oxygen, but Mary recovered. There was no damage. Not just physically, but with a completely transformed understanding of life. She saw everything differently now. In the years that followed, she couldn't ignore what she had experienced. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't imagination. It was real. Something that reshaped her faith, her purpose, and how she saw the world. She later wrote about her experience in a book, To Heaven and Back. That was the title, To Heaven and Back. Sharing how that moment under the water was not the end, but she had a glimpse into eternity. But her story doesn't stop there. Years later, Mary would face another heartbreaking moment, one that tested everything she believed she had learned. Her son was tragically passed away in a kayaking accident. The very thing that had once nearly taken her life. And yet, even in that deep pain, she held on to what she had seen, what she knew within her. She believed and knew with certainty that death was not the end. There was purpose, even in the suffering. Heaven is real. And that love, that kind she experienced beyond that river, is a never ending and never fade.